pray with my daughter pretty much every night and my son. We say the serenity prayer very often. That's been a meaningful prayer in my life. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Why should men build, fund, and defend a society that sees them as a disposable food wrapper?
This is not a conversation about the top men up here. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of men CEOs and all that. Okay. This is a conversation about men in general. Most men are not in positions of power. They're regular guys walking around, and you know what they are? They're figuratively castrated by society and by modern media. They're walking around being told they're toxic all the time. They can't say anything to women without having their head bit off. Oh, you're a misogynist for every little thing. They're like, forget it. God forbid they want a feminine woman. It's like a crime. That's what's going on for the average guy. There's expectations of them. They're going to make six figures. They're going to do all this. In the meantime, the woman gets to just do whatever she wants and claim feminism as an excuse for why she gets to live the exact way she wants and make the demand she wants, but he can't do anything and say anything without getting his head bit off. That's the reality of most men. That's why men, and the conversation was about why men look to Andrew Tate.
The feminization of society has been deeply destructive and harmful to men of this generation, and I'm sure for the many generations yet to come.
Why men are checking out of society and relationships. People don't go where they're unwanted, and everybody always puts the blame and shame on men for everything that has gone wrong in society. A woman wants a man who is emotionally available and sensitive, but if a man expresses his sensitivity, he is told that he has a fragile ego. If a man wants to defend himself against a woman, she will shame him into being quiet by saying he's either too aggressive or he has toxic masculinity or he has, again, a fragile ego. If a woman says something offensive, she is protected. If a man says something offensive, he is canceled. It's considered sexist or misogynist to point out a woman's shortcomings, and you have to walk around eggshells with them because of their sensitivity. But men get mocked, ridiculed, and disrespected in society, and they're just supposed to sit back and take it. You can make fun of men all you want online, mock them, criticize them. If you do that to a woman, you'll.
If my wife is upset with me, she can stop preparing my meals, stop doing my laundry, freeze me out of the bedroom, and not respond to my communications, all without repercussions. If I am upset with my wife, I cannot freeze the credit and debit cards. I cannot stop paying the bills. I cannot stop paying for her car and phone. There are no repercussions for a neglected husband legally. The family court is also stacked against us.
This is what really screws men. As men, we are socialized and conditioned to only feel anger. This is the only emotion you're allowed to feel as a man growing up. And this is the one emotion that gets demonized when you're older. So I'll give you a simple example. So when I get bullied in school, like, what am I supposed to do, Stephen?
In school, well, it depends if you can fight back.
Absolutely. Like, you didn't say talk to the teacher. You didn't say cry about it, because if I cry about it, what's going to happen, Stephen?
You're going to get bullied more.
Absolutely. So men experience anger as something called an umbrella emotion. We literally suppress and are conditioned to suppress all other emotions except for anger. And then if you talk to men about their experience of life, anger is always the first thing that comes out of their mouth. Someone breaks up with you. How do you feel about it? Do you feel ashamed? No, that's not what we say. I feel pissed off. How could she do this to me? And then we vent that anger on the internet, and then this turns into misogyny. The men who are saying these kinds of toxic things are saying that for a reason. This is because of their upbringing. This is because of the world that they lived in.
When I come back to America, it's just like consistently this, like, how can we put more accountability on men and how can we take more accountability away from women? And then like the mainstream media, the music, the video games, like you're in the gaming industry too, you know, like everything is just like piling on to shit on men and like endlessly jerk off women. And guys kind of just like, all right, like it's kind of gotten to this point where it's fucking ridiculous. Like guys absolutely have issues too, but men are just not going to sit around and cry and feel sorry for themselves. But women will, 9 times out of 10, they will do that.
A man who has followed the rules his entire life does not want to clean up the emotional and physical mess a woman created by chasing after the dude who broke all the rules his entire life.
What do you think it means to be a man today in 2023, though?
You don't even need to look anything like a man to be a man.
Toxic masculinity for sure.
Women in general are seen as like meek.
Women have all these options, match, nonstop.
Young men have to some extent been de-skilled in terms of relationships. And if there's a war, you've got to pick sides.
Men are literally disgusting.
White men dominate and exclude women.
Men are trash. That's common in society.
And in the absence of proper role models, men are feeling lost, lacking direction, and even forgotten.
Young men didn't know what they were supposed to be doing.
Most men are desperately lonely.
And if either gender can't show up as their best, it can only hurt society. But in today's lack of nuance, is it considered sexist to even explore masculinity? And can we realistically find a balanced approach to gender dynamics, or is it too far gone? I guess we gon' see.
What do you think it means to be a man today in 2023 then?
In 2023, you don't even need to look anything like
I agree that society puts huge pressure on men, and it's time for men to perform. As a man, you either perform or you don't. There's no safety net like there is for females. Females can wake up and say, I don't feel like it. The men who say I can't feel like it cannot compete with the men who do not say that. And it is player versus player. The man who goes to the gym every single day, regardless of how he feels, will always beat the man who goes to the gym when he feels like going to the gym. And it's player versus player. And let me tell you something. As much as you want to sit here and disagree with me, it's women who decide who the winner is.
Home is supposed to be a man's place of peace. Until you know the woman is going to add to the tranquility rather than bring chaos, why would they bring her in their place of calm?
What is there about the developed nations that is leading to boys doing so poorly? So when it comes to boy-girl time, if he feels he's a sensitive boy and is being rejected by girls because girls tend to date winners, not losers, and he's now experiencing himself as a loser because he doesn't accomplish things very well, he then becomes angry and hurt and withdrawn. And if the video game addiction doesn't satisfy him, or the alcoholism or the drugs don't satisfy him, he can turn to porn, which will addict him to girls and women as objects rather than as real people. And which leads to more rejection by the girls who feel treated as objects because they're being treated as objects. Those are the boys that are set up for the mass shooters. They look to ISIS or some other larger sense of purpose that their dad didn't provide, or they become our prisoners. In the United States, 93% of the prison population is male.
How radical are young people getting? More radical by the day. After COVID, my idea that we're going to have some kind of revolution really faded pretty quickly. Yeah, I know. Right? I don't think we're going to have some, 1776 revival here. 1789? I hope not. Let's hope not. Yeah, I don't want to go on the guillotine either. But I think more and more what's going to happen is people are going to check out. We're already seeing this, right? We hear people, men walking away from the workforce, walking away from forming families. We're going to keep eating out the center of what actually holds our society up. We think it's abstract ideas. What it actually is young men going out, working, forming families, finding, worthy women, creating families, building societies together. That's what actually holds these things up. And it's all going to haul out from the center. And you can't import foreigners fast enough to solve this problem for you. And so what we're going to end up with is if we don't take radical action, I don't think it's some kind of armed rebellion. What we're going to see is a society that falls apart from the inside.
Here's the reality, guys. Most of us aren't checking out of society, we are checking out of relationships and women. You can still participate in society without a girlfriend, a wife, or children. Until men are treated fairly by women, society, government, and courts, this is going to get even worse.
What I'm trying to get at here is each of you, when we talk about which choice you'd make, like the career or the babies, we've asked this before, and I'll let you keep going around, but usually it ends up being, well, I'm going to do what makes me happy. And if humanity dies, it dies. But men don't ever even really get that choice. Men don't ever even contemplate that. Men are like, well, the world needs to be built. Men don't get value just from being cute. You guys could do nothing. You could just sit there, and every word that comes out of your mouth can be absolutely R-worded, and you can be total airheads and be totally good for nothing. And as long as you're cute, some man is gonna love you and pay your bills and give you whatever you want and do whatever he needs to do to make you happy. Men don't have that. Men have to provide value, or nobody gives a shit about them. And even when they do provide value, people still don't give a shit about them.
It's called return on investment. If men don't receive it, they aren't playing. Society has failed men, and men fail to realize their true worth.
Men and women are drifting further apart, and society is crumbling because of it.
74% or something of divorces are initiated by women.
How much did you spend trying to get him back?
On legal fees alone was about $200,000. We absolutely reinforce bad behavior from women.
Every problem in society comes from single mother home.
Talk about hitting the nail on the head. how good the world would be if simps ceased to exist. Women would learn the truth and actually be held accountable. What a world it would be.
Society places men dead last every time, and society expects men to place themselves dead last every time. I think if I was going to be an object, I'd rather be a sexual one or somebody's prized possession than an object that can simply be thrown in the trash or smashed into pieces in the service of somebody else's purpose.
Mechanics are becoming harder to come by as open positions stay vacant.
We're experiencing a shortage of just about everything these days, and now we're learning about a shortage of airplane mechanics.
There is a shortage of skilled tradespeople throughout the U.S. economy.
I could hire 6, 8 experienced plumbers right now.
But they're just not out there?
They're just not out there.
First and foremost is the perception of plumbing. There's this stigma that goes along with getting your hands dirty. Just a plumber, not a person, just a plumber. And I don't want to be that guy.
Some people tend to look down on that, and that makes people not want to go into it, clearly.
No man is going to help a society that actively hates him and destroys everything it means to be him. If you give one side of a spectrum every advantage to win a game, and the other side every disadvantage in the game, then why would anyone even play?
A lot of the jobs that young men used to have as on-ramps into the middle class were generally industries that over-index male, manufacturing, frontline work. Those jobs have been outsourced overseas. In addition, once we leveled the playing field academically, women just blew by men. Women are more mature, they're more disciplined, they're better at delaying gratification. And over the next 5 years, we're going to have 2 women graduate from college from every 1 man. So what we have is an entire cohort of what I call emotionally and economically unviable men. And so women are leveling up, and it's great, but they're not interested in the men our society is producing right now. And the most violent, unstable societies in the world all have too many of the same thing, and that is a broke and lonely young man. And we are producing too many of them.
Men won't participate in a system that hates them. It's as simple as that.
Name one lie she said.
Welcome to men's issues the society likes to ignore and blame on men. What's the biggest one? Violence. It's you're not allowed to hit girls, which gave girls free rein to slap, kick, and abuse. And if he fought back, then he's only confirming the stereotype of an abusive male. Depression. Men suck at handling mental health because as a society, we don't make it acceptable for them to talk about it. Women are more likely to seek help, and men are absolute experts at pretending like nothing's wrong.
Facts.
I want you to listen to that again. The biggest killer of our troops isn't terrorists, bombs, or gunfire. It's suicide, and it should be a national scandal. It's not treated like that, though. Education, my God, education. Men are trailing women on a graduating level by a vast amount. The youth unemployment rate for Black male dropouts is over 50%.
Men are realizing how bad they are treated, and they pass their knowledge to younger boys, telling them, "Don't do my mistakes."
Only women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. Women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. A man is only loved under the condition that he provides something.
She's cool, tells it as it is, and open-minded. Enough to understand the crazy present generation. Mental health needs addressing.
Simply saying hello, simply saying, hey, you look nice, looking at them is considered weird if men do it nowadays. And that is the state of what has happened to men and masculinity and anything related to manhood nowadays, is we're wrong. We're wrong, we just have to accept it, and that's how it is, and no one wants to come to our defense.
This is the true reality, men. Know this. Learn it. Remember it.
A prominent theory which is out there is that women who are single and who are in their late 30s or early 40s often say this because they're trying to root out competition by shaming men, by saying men shouldn't be attracted to women who are younger than they are, especially by a significant age gap, because they actually want to secure those men for themselves.
I'm definitely not shaming men.
If there was a 22-year-old woman who was dating, let's say, a 44-year-old man, you don't see that.
I just think like women 25, 24, I would say, 24 and under, I think it's a little creepy be when men in their 40s are going for like a 20-year-old.
You literally just contradicted yourself because you're shaming men. You're saying if men go after women who are, let's say they're 44, they go after a woman who's 24. It's within your criteria. They're 20 years younger. You are now shaming those men. You say, listen to the word. Hang on, here's the verb. It's creepy, right? Why shouldn't we assume that the reason that you think that is because if women or if men who are in that age bracket who would be a prime target for you.
Hold the line, gentlemen. It's all about self-preservation and retiring early without being cleaned out by divorce court.
In the female body and more fat, and the opposite in a man. And so if we just forget, that how we are both, as men and women, equally important, men are missing where they're supposed to be, the rock, where they're needed. Men are needed in the household. Men are needed to take care of the boys that are, maybe don't have fathers and need better examples so that they don't get put out into the street doing some, crimes and getting involved with the wrong crowd, because when a boy is lost, that's what he does, okay? And then, gets into drugs, gets into homelessness, and it's just a whole pipeline. It's very easy for it to happen. It could have been very easy for me to end up that way, given my circumstance, given the way.
Most men learned at a young age that when the ball game is overtly unfair, simply take your balls and walk away.
The thing that most feminine women are coming to is this cool relationship between men and women, where it's men's goal and purpose is to civilize nature, but women's goal and purpose is to civilize men. And so there's just this mixing of this is how the roles should be. And if women are trying to civilize nature, it's not going to work. It's going to turn into chaos. It's going to slip out of their hands. We're not capable. That's not our God-given purpose. But if we can spend our time civilizing men and then inserting beauty into the places that men build in the culture, then that's where a woman can click into her most powerful essence. And a lot of women are, by rejecting feminism, are finding femininity, and then finding that truth is where they can insert beauty and life, and civilize men is really where the culture change is going to happen.
As a man, you need to protect yourself against the corrupt family courts. You don't want to end up divorced and broke at 40, living check by check, because you have to pay some woman child support and alimony. As a man, marriage is the easiest way to ruin your future.
If you're a man and you're arrogant and you think you're something when you're not, trust me, society will teach you very quickly that you don't matter when you don't get laid and you stay a fucking brokey. If you're a chick and think you're something when you're not, you can run around with your ego, still get dates, still get laid, still have a fairly sensible social life. Society as a whole doesn't come along and slap you in the face with realizations. If you're a man and you think you're something you're not, it is a ticking time bomb until society teaches you a lesson.
Toxic politics, toxic inequality, toxic economy, toxic dating, toxic marriages, toxic social media, and toxic work environments. That's what men have to face today. Division and opposition on all fronts. These women are beginning to figure out something is wrong, but will not face the truth that it's them. Keep going your own way, fellas. These women are still not worth it. Thanks for watching the Voices of Man channel. This is your space. Share your voice and be part of a global community.